Deontay Wilder loses on points to Joseph Parker. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to discuss before I get into the fight itself. In the build to this fight, I was saying a few things. I expected Wilder to win. I thought he would eventually end the right hand. Parker's look has been very active, but it's not looked overly great. You know, Parker looked like Parker. But there's a few things I didn't like from Wilder this week. And this is the ayahuasca Wilder. He seems happy in life, which is really good. But with Deontay, he was so... In some ways, Wilder this week seemed like a man to me who already in his head thought, this is going to be easy, I'm going to knock him out, I'm going to run through him. That's the way it was to me. I feel like he didn't talk about Parker enough. I feel like in his head, Wilder's very delusional. And he really believed that Parker ducked him all them years ago instead of unifying with him. I mean, that's not the case for me. If I remember correctly, the reason why they didn't fight, I think there were negotiations, but I think AJ was negotiating with him as well at the same time, or around the same time period or something. And if Parker went for the AJ fight, which you made way more money for, especially back then, than the fight with Wilder, that's not a duck. He went for AJ. AJ had two belts at the time. Why would he go and fight Wilder in America for less money? He went to go and fight AJ for more money. I know he made good money for that fight, so it wasn't a duck. But in Wilder's head, he thinks he was ducked. Wilder thinks he's ducked by everyone. He thinks he's ducked by everyone. So in his head, he thought Parker was scared and was going to knock him out pretty easy. I think he didn't show Parker enough respect, in my opinion. Another thing I kind of wanted to home in on with Deontay Wilder, he seemed like a guy this week to me. He's got so much money now, Deontay. They always talk about that quote that I think is so overplayed, but it's hard to go jogging in the morning when you're sleeping in silk pajamas or whatever the quote is. Wilder to me, you see him this week, he's in constant Gucci. He's in constant Louis Vuitton. Everything he wears is all branded in his logo. Even after the fight, if you watch the clip on Eddie Setback's channel or ES News, he's got a luggage. It's covered in satins with his own logo on it. He's so rich at this point. Does he have the same hunger? You know, when you see AJ, for example, he's always in Under Armour gear. That's really it. Parker's wealthy. He's just in his normal gear. But Wilder's there, I don't know, it's just a bit different. It's a bit different, Wilder, but... And Parker seemed locked in. Parker had Andy Lee. I forgot Andy Lee's the other trainer he's with as well. But he had Andy Lee there. He had Tyson Fury's fought him a few times. Like the game plan, the blueprint was there for Parker. Just whether he could execute or not. And again, I knew it was there, but I didn't know if Parker would be able to go to 12 and do it without getting clipped. And he done it. He done it. I only got to the 5th round, the 6th round, the 7th round, the 8th round when Wilder got hurt. And I was like, man, I know Parker can do this, but I've seen the story before of Deontay Wilder where you think, oh, this person I beat Wilder, then he get clipped. Washington, he looked really good until he got clipped, and for me, he kind of quit. Arthur Spilker, he looked good until he got clipped. You know what I mean? So we've seen this story before. But it didn't work today. People say Wild Power's not gone. Obviously his time was off. Barely fighting nowadays. Look, his last fight was last year in October against Hellenius. Before that was through the year before. He's just so inactive. And in these two fights here, he took so much damage. I want to see how his chin was. Now, one thing I will say, while his chin is still there, Parker's not really a noted puncher. But in that 8th round he was hurt. He definitely took the shots. He was hurt, but he definitely he didn't go down, so he's still tough. He still got that mindset to stay in there. But Wilder may be disappointed in himself of that performance. Another question I asked before this fight was, Wilder was so relaxed this week. I was saying to myself, is Wilder mentally prepared to go into a fight? People talk about AJ's demeanor this week. AJ was ready to go into a fight. Was Wilder ready to go into a fight? I don't think he was. Now look at Malik Scott. I like Malik Scott. I like hearing him talk and interviews. But the issue I have with now Wilder's corner is Wilder sometimes he talks about this yes men, other people's corners, and he doesn't have that. He does. Not saying Malik Scott's a yes man. I'm not speaking on particular names. I'm just saying. After this whole situation with obviously his last trainer, he got fired. His name is escaping my mind right now. Mark Breland. I've had people walking eggshells around Wilder, and a lot of it with Wilder is pandering to his ego. Everything with him is pandering to him to make him feel good. And again, this is definitely why I'm not saying he's a bad guy or nothing like that. Everything just panders to him. I watch Eddie Setback, ES News. This is why I don't like that channel. I don't like him. I get why he does what he does to get the interviews and get exclusive interviews, but he panders to Wilder like the guy pays his bills. He does partially, I guess, with his content. Same thing with Malik Scott. He just panders to him. I find they give him the harsh truth sometimes. Also, I'm looking at Malik Scott. Why is Wilder moving so much? I understand you're gonna work on his movement. I understand you're gonna work on walking people onto your right hand, like he did against Fury. Like he did against Hellenius. I get it. But I'm also sitting there like, Wilder, it's not working here. Parker's got good distance, he's blitzing in, he's timing you, he's fading you. You have to go back to maybe your old style. Try to sit in the center. Use your jab. He didn't do it. And he got outboxed. And again, people say, wow, look terrible. He didn't look great. But we've seen this before from him. We've seen him get outboxed for 10 rounds before and get the knockout. It's nothing we haven't seen before. The issue with that is, you can't. It's worked 43 times. 42 times because once the first fight went to points. No, 41 times because the free fight went to points. According to this. But my point being, it's going to be a point where it's not going to work. Well, he's 38 now. We'll see what happens. I hope he comes back. I don't know what he does next. Obviously, what AJ fight is probably not going to happen now. I think it's hard to build that up based on that performance. Usyk, Wilder, Usyk, Fury are tied up. Listen, man, I'll be here for the Francis fight. Francis, and funny enough, I think everyone's overrating Francis and how good he is. He nullified a lot of what Fury was good at, because he has a physical dimensions, and he was also would have been hard to train for because you don't have much study on him in terms of being a boxer. But man, so I'll give Francis a bit of a chance in that fight. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would give Francis a good chance based on that. Wilder needs to kind of get back using that jab. He doesn't need to move so much, in my opinion. He's wasting a lot of energy doing that, but it is what it is. Parker performed really good. Parker was really great in that fight. He did everything he needed to do. He was on point. It wasn't a high-paced fight, so you have to see him gas. His feints were there. He had a good jab. He snapped Wilder's head back a few times with a jab. His right hand, he hurt Wilder a few times in that fight. And again, Wilder didn't really look urgent until the 12th round. He sort of actually thrown that right hand. And then after the fight was done, he puts his hands up in the air as to say, I done it. And so I talk about Wilder's illusion. How would you feel like you won that fight based on how you just done? But then, maybe I look at his corner. His corner didn't push it, because from what I was seeing, Nate Scott wasn't giving Wilder terrible advice. He was giving him pretty decent. He was saying to him to use the uppercut. Wilder kept dipping to his left. Parker kept dipping to his left. So use the uppercut more. But Parker, what about Parker? He's always been good at blocking the uppercut. Now, pretty decent at it. I only fought AJ the first time. He blocked a lot of AJ's uppercuts, but getting that forearm under your chin, he done really well with it. So yeah, with him, you got to set up really well, get a tight pocket to land an uppercut against Parker. He's always smart with that. But anyway, where do you think Wilder goes from here? I see the Francis fight. I hope he don't retire. I hope he doesn't retire. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And Parker, what do you think Parker goes from here? I don't know what Parker does. I'm not overly sure what he does from here. Some people say AJ again. That's not demand for that. There's not demand for that. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought about the fight. I'll see you next one. Peace.